Chickadee.
Blue Ribbon Blitz. Comparing sizes. Choose an area to visit. Click on an object to start comparing. Which object is shorter? Which object is taller? Which object is shorter? Which object holds less? Which object holds more? Which object is longer? Which object is heavier? Which object is heavier? Which object is narrower? Which object is heavier? Which object is lighter? Which object is narrower? Which object is longer? Which object is taller? Which object is larger? Which object is wider? Which object is lighter? Which object is longer? Nice job! You compared all the objects in the garden. Which object is heavier? Which object is smaller? Which object is smaller? Which object is shorter? Which object is taller? Which object is lighter? Which object is larger? Which object is taller? Which object is larger? Which object is taller? Which object is wider? Which object is larger? Which object is smaller? Nice job! You compared all the objects in the barnyard. Which object is narrower? Which object is taller? Which object is shorter? Which object is taller? Which object is smaller? Which object is shorter? Which object is heavier? Which object is heavier? Which object holds less? Which object is wider? Which object is lighter? Which object is lighter? Which object is larger? Nice job! You compared all the objects in the kitchen. Which object is smaller? Which object is heavier? Which object is wider? Which object is smaller? Which object is taller? Which object is lighter? Which object is shorter? Which object holds more? Nice job! You compared all the objects in the orchard. Amazing!